Hello, I want to warn you in advance before you watch this video. The views expressed here are completely mine. They may be a little controversial to you. They may not be what you want to hear, but it's been on my mind all night, and so I wanted to share my thoughts. First of all, my heart goes out to everyone at YouTube headquarters who was at work yesterday, who had a loved one involved in the incident yesterday. Everyone who was affected. It was a horrible situation, as all of these mass shootings have been, and I am truly, truly sorry that people were injured, that people were hurt, that this had to happen. So that's the first thing that I want to say. The second thing is, I want to talk about guns. I'm a firm believer in the Second Amendment. As many of you know, I blog on prepping. I believe that we all have a right to own a gun and to defend our property. We all have a right to own a gun and go hunting with it to put food on our tables. What we don't have a right to do is to own a gun and harm someone else unless they are breaking into our home and we are doing so in self-defense to protect ourselves or our families. I am very, very against all of this gun violence that is going on. And I also want to say that it's only been since I've been doing the homesteading thing, since I've been getting into prepping, that I've been in favor of guns. Growing up, my stepdad Larry always had a loaded handgun, a .357, that laid on the coffee table. It laid on the end table, someplace in our house, generally within the room he was in, there was a loaded gun. He also had rifles. I know he had a 12 gauge. I'm not sure what else. And those were also kept loaded, usually leaning against the door jamb by the front door or in some other place where they were in plain sight. I understood that they were guns. I understood that they were loaded. And he told me if he ever saw me touching those guns, he would break my fingers and put me 6 foot under. Now, would he have actually done that? I don't know. But it sure got the point across to me. Those were his. Those were not to be touched. They were not a toy. You know, they were a dangerous item and not for children. We, of course, had other young people in and out of our home, and there was never a problem. Now, I want to go a step further and say that I was bullied in school. I was called ugly. I was often tripped. One of my classmates beat me upside the head once with his cast. I was getting off the bus, and one of the boys tripped me, and the other one started hitting me upside my head with the cast. And the bus driver broke that up. I was often pushed down on my way home from school and beat up. Many, many different situations. But never once did I think, oh, I have a gun at home that I can get. No, that wasn't the way you dealt with it. Yes, I went home crying. Yes, I was upset. And I would get told to suck it up, basically. You know, if they were picking on me, they were leaving someone else alone that maybe couldn't handle it. So did it hurt my feelings? Yes. Did I sometimes feel like my parents didn't care? They didn't hear me? They didn't understand? Yeah. Sometimes I mumbled under my breath, and if they would have heard what I said, boy, getting my mouth washed out with soap would have just been the beginning of that. I also got my butt beat for things like bringing home less than an A on my report card. For things that they thought I did that I really hadn't done. But there was discipline in our home. And when they spoke, I respected that, and I knew better than to cross them. I was also taught right from wrong. Now, my parents didn't take me to church. They weren't even fond of the fact that I was going. But my grandparents on both sides did take me to church. And my grandmother did buy me a children's Bible, which I did read. And I heard and I understood what was being said at church. I understood what I was reading. I don't know how much religion played a part in my understanding of what was right and wrong versus just simply being taught at home. I think it all kind of played a part because I think going to church and reading the Bible really gave me that second opinion and stories to go by of the way that other people behaved. Because, simply put, my parents didn't get along with a lot of people, and it wasn't the best situation, it wasn't the worst situation. I'll put it that way. Now, as I said, I used to be completely against guns. I didn't want them in my house. I didn't want them around my kids. I didn't want them any place at all. And then we moved here to our little 2.5-acre homestead. And we've had some livestock over the years that have become sick, become injured. And there has been a need to put the livestock down. Vets are not always available 24/7, and there's not one in our area. So to call one, you have to bring one in, and it's often several hours before they get here. So I can't stand an animal suffering, and I've also learned that, especially when it comes to goats and sheep, there's not a lot that a vet can do when they get sick. Even if you try, because I have tried, I've spent $600 or $700 at a vet trying to save a goat, and she told me the goat wasn't going to make it, but I wanted to try, and I've learned my lesson from trying versus just understanding that this is beyond something that can be fixed. So for less pain for the animal and less suffering for the animal, it's best just to put them down. The other reason that I have become a believer in guns is because there is so much violence going on. So much. And when people break into your home, and it's happening a lot where I live, and they want to rape you or rob you or, whatever sick thing they have in their mind that they want to do, I believe that you do have the right to defend your home, yourself, your family. And so, not really knowing anything about guns myself, the best thing to do is to start with a safety course. There are some here. The Trading Post has some, because it's really important, if you're going to have a gun, that you understand how to handle it, you understand the safety of it, and you understand you don't just pull a gun for any reason. That's just wrong. Taking a human life is wrong. I know that if I was facing bodily harm, I would really, really struggle with having to use a gun. I know that. And I have been warned that that can be a real problem and something that I've got to learn how to cope with in the event that it would ever happen. But like I said, the first thing is to take a safety course, go through the training, get your proper permits, and understand that nothing other than saving your own life is worth ever using a gun on another person for, because it's wrong. So, I don't know. I really don't know why so many people feel like this person or these people have done me wrong, or, you know, I don't understand this. I need to use a gun or a bomb or a knife or a vehicle or whatever weapon that they decide to use to harm other people. I don't understand that, because when you've lived life, you come to understand that, yes, this may have really hurt me today. This may have really embarrassed me. You know, maybe my boyfriend broke up with me and I just feel like it's the end of the world. And I did go through this in 7th grade. Jeff and I are married now, but in 7th grade he broke up with me, and I was just so humiliated, and I thought my whole life was over, and I was just so upset and distraught, and it took me a number of years and my mother really pushing me to ever date again. But never did I think of harming him. You know, I blamed myself, and then I rationalized and I said, someday he'll come back. And he did. It took 30 years, but he did come back. And I moved on with my life, because life is full of disappointments, people. It is. Nothing stays the same. Things are always changing. And when something you don't like happens, I know I've read on some of the news reports that the reason this shooting occurred was because of the demonetization on YouTube. This is happening to all of us. I have a lot of gardening videos that have been demonetized, and I have no idea why. I, of course, have requested that YouTube take a look and remonetize them. It's slow going. I know that. I have 2 whole pages of videos that have been demonetized. Yes, I'm losing income. Yes, I'm upset. But you know what? I understand that there are thousands of us out there that have had this happen to us. And YouTube has limited staffing. So eventually they will get around to looking at our videos and making a decision. I also understand that YouTube has been kind enough to all of us creators to allow us to upload our videos for free. They don't charge us to be part of the YouTube community. They offer us many trainings and, you know, many perks. And as our subscribers grow, we get additional perks. I also understand why the demonetization happened. Some larger creators wanted views so badly that they made some really inappropriate content. And it not only hurt YouTube, it hurt all of us creators. Because the advertisers said enough is enough. And if YouTube doesn't have advertisers, they can't give us a free place to upload our videos. They can't give us all of the perks that they are giving us. And they sure can't give us monetization. So they had to step up and they had to say, if you can't follow the rules, then this is what we're going to have to do. People, this is the exact same thing that my parents would have done. I don't know about your parents, but if I wouldn't have followed the rules, they would have stepped the game up and there would have been some kind of consequence. So, simply put, yes, it's affecting a lot of us that didn't do anything wrong, but it will get worked out in the end. It really will. And we have to step back and we have to be grateful for what YouTube is giving us. We have to give them time to be able to go through our videos and look them over and make a decision. And we have to be willing to accept whatever that decision is. You know, I have some videos up on gun safety and how to survive an active shooter situation. And even some of those have been demonetized. I don't know what their decision is going to be. Whatever their decision is, I accept that. You know, I wanted to put the video out there to help people. If I don't ever make a penny off that video, that's okay. You know, I would like to, yes, but like I said, whatever their decision, I'm good with that. Okay, and I know I had something else I wanted to talk about, and my mind is just, I'm in shock that this has happened. All of these shootings just, they leave me speechless. I don't know what to say. I don't understand anyone coming to the point in their life that they feel like there's nothing left, and the only way to get attention, the only way to get their message out is to do this. It's sad. It's really, really sad. And to think that another YouTube creator felt so compelled to do this is frightening. It, I just, like I said, I'm speechless. I just, it was so shocking when I saw it come across Twitter yesterday, and I pulled it up and I was streaming it on my phone, and then we pulled it up on CN, and it was just sad. I watched all of the YouTube employees file out of the building. We saw the cops frisk everybody down, and I can't imagine how traumatizing that was for them, and for them to not really know what was going on, if anyone was hurt. And, you know, if I have understood all of the news reports correctly, there are 3 people that were hospitalized. I believe one was in serious condition, one was in stable, and one was in critical condition. And I'm hoping that by this morning that they are all stabilized and that they're all going to be okay. You know, I just, like I said, I don't think gun control is the answer. I think this attitude of entitlement, this attitude of expectation, it needs to go. When something happens, if you don't like it, there are peaceful ways of dealing with it. You know, have a conversation. There are legal actions that you can take if you really, really feel like something was done to you that was wrong. But turning to a gun, turning to a bomb, turning to a knife, a vehicle, you know, doing something that injures other people and that you can never take back. Never. That's wrong. I understand that the lady that did this killed herself, and I can only imagine also how her family feels today, because not only because of what she did, but because she's no longer with them either. And this was truly, like all of the other mass shootings, a senseless act of violence that did not have to take place. And there were definitely better ways to deal with this. And again, my heart goes out to all the people at YouTube that were affected by this, all of their families. I think that's all I'm going to say on the subject, but other than, if you own a gun, if you intend to get a gun, please make sure that you take all of the safety courses. Please make sure that you understand how to use it, and never, ever, ever use it just to go kill other people, because that's wrong. Thanks for watching.